Chapter 2. Understanding the Role of Human Culture in Diverse Societies. Part 1. Culture Selection. India is known as a land of rich and diverse cultures. However, we couldn't say that the richness of its culture reflects or transforms into a collective and harmonious ambience. Such an ambience interprets to an organized structural ecosystem that modern humans would appreciate living in. Contrariwise, India is known for its polluted cities, rivers, and catastrophic living conditions. The living conditions of the poor and rich are sharply different. Culture ethics of modern societies, such as picking your dog's poop, not throwing your trash around, is out of the question in India. Shitting on the street for a Homo sapiens is as normal as a dog doing it. On top of that, they share a common ground of not picking them up. This proves that all those rituals and cultural diversity are irrelevant to today's basic obligated social ethics. For example, ethics that allow wearing a mini skirt and walking comfortably, ethics to keep a clean environment, ethics for accepting sexual differences, ethics of waiting your turn or stopping at a walk cross. I have nothing against India, just one of the many socially disorganized countries. Cities and societies are like an individual in a sense. When a city is in alignment with its structural design, society and community ethics that are regulated by an efficient operational mechanism, then they behave just like an individual whose soul, mind, and body energies are aligned. A balanced individual could live an authentic, creative, and blissful life. This represents an individual's mindset of growth, flexibility, and continuous learning. Cities that are aligned with the fundamental dynamics could also operate in a harmony. They produce a blissful and cozy ambience that operates efficiently and produces an embrace. This ecosystem produces an ambience for improvements, both on individual and society levels, and perhaps things flow in a positive transformation. On the other hand, when an individual or a city is stuck in a loop of corrupted and disorganized status quo, then neither diversity of cultures nor money could bring prosperity to both. It is hard to inject a new habit into a human social structure. In this sense, societies and individuals have a similarity. While few cities manage to structure integrated systems of efficient public transport, biking culture, clean weather, and amazing ambience, most of the world's cities suffer from traffic, crime, chaos, pests, waste, and toxic air. These problems, perhaps, are fixable through a long-shot strategy of globalization and integration of nations. Some EU countries have a zero-emission target, and all cars with petrol will be banned in 2030. On the other hand, many disorganized cities that are not aligned with their fundamental structural and cognitive perception are still way behind with the transformation that humanity should target to set global standards in terms of population, traffic, public transport, and so on. Cities that offer a peaceful ambience and freedom are similar to individuals who are at peace with themselves and are contributing to humanity by creating, practicing global ethics, and are curious about new visions and frontiers. On the other hand, some communities are stuck at the disorganized state of social structure's evolution process, just like many individuals. Today, the dynamics of human social structure is stuck and limited within a status quo position of racing nations, and need fundamental changes in order to transform into another level of human society. It is also a fact that, when human factor and authority is not significant in regards to the flow of operations, in a structural system, then operations could flow with less friction. It is harder to manipulate or interrupt a chain of an efficient system due to its structure of limited human interference. Culture consists of, constantly but slowly evolving aspects of daily behaviors, perceptions, flexibilities, tolerances, and way of life. No culture is stable or fixed. Thus, it should be treated as a temporary state of the current social situation. Giving a culture more value and holiness than it deserves is a problem. There are many good cultural events, rituals, and ethics that are in line with today's moral ethics. On the other hand, there are many cultural values that do not get along with today's moralities. Some of these cultural behaviors should, definitely, be illegal due to the fact that they clash with globally respected fundamental values regarding kids, man and woman, human rights, and freedom. This fact signals the need for adapting a perception of selective culture picking. The long-term strategy on a global level with an intention to inject collective values and delete risky and unacceptable cultures, must be practiced. The leading nations must focus on growing a global culture that is distilled with selective cultural beliefs. In other words, a global fusion of beneficial cultures should be injected into all societies. It is easier to say than done, of course. But a long-term plan to evolve a new human social structure is a must. We humans continuously modify cultures and stories. We modify them and own them. In return, they create the invisible frame for social tolerance, and then a perception and flexibility. Most cultural rituals and events are fun. On the other hand, some cultural components represent ideologies of unacceptable actions, such as underage marriages, child abuse, pressure on women, and so on. Cultural structures that contain these ideological components need to be modified, changed, and deleted. Part 2. Fit into get more different cultural groups. Respond differently to circumstances concerning individual or social matters. We know that some cultures were involved more significantly in the creation of modern societies and technologies than other cultures. Some societies could not pass the point of being hunter and gatherers, and if let alone, they would continue to live as hunter and gatherers, even today. There are few possible theories why that happened, but none has a certainty. Although many societies have not managed to evolve at the same acceleration as Western world, they have contributed as slaves or laborers to build modern societies. Many cultural aspects of these contributors were also blended into modern societies. Today still, there are tribes that have never contributed to modern societies. Humans are very adaptable, and within the right conditions of social structure, prosperity and education system, they will believe in any story that is represented to them. This is a fact. Humans are programmed to believe. The story does not matter. Many societies and nations are not matured in collective and cognitive social perception. They are stuck in believing various ancient religious stories. This is a problem on an individual level, but also on a macro level. It feeds the inefficient status quo state of social structure. This adopted system, where human factor is way more dominant than the flow of the system itself. This kind of so-called collective social structure, such as cities, chaos is inescapable part of life. I saw an advert in the Netherlands. The slogan was, "Fit in to get more." If this advert was in the USA, I would imagine a marketing slogan that goes, "Be different to stand out." Well, fit into the Netherlands system, and you will definitely get more from life. Stop at the red light, ride your cycle, no need to show off. Picking up your dog's shit are some daily examples of fitting in. Hey, if a system is working, and you come from a shitty social and economic system, you will enjoy what is already established. Otherwise, you will damage what has been established by not following the expectations of the crowd, and thus creating hate and racism. This means you being a parasite in a healthy organism. So, it is important to understand freedom on an individual level, and on a large entity level. In today's state of humanity, the expectation of a social community must contain and practice the essence of human rights in accordance with today's accepted ethics. Culture is evolving like everything else. It is hard for most people and societies to get out of their comfort zone, and most have problems grasping reality from fantasy. Mostly, they are scared, or don't bother to question. They prefer to follow the regular commercial ritual. Some brave ones get out of the herd, sometimes even for the cost of their own lives. But the ones that come out of the herd can make dramatic changes in human life, cultures, systems, rituals, etc. I almost hear somebody shouting now, "I have a dream." Well, your dream is real, brother. Not much long after you were gone, the USA had its first African-American president. Although capitalism and hierarchy thrives, you can rest in peace. If you had the chance to time travel a couple of 100 years into the past and tell this to a landowner in Mississippi who at the time owned slaves, they would have laughed at you and think that you are not right in the head. The Bible has clear statements of how to punish, even kill, or release your slave. Well, they were the status quo. They chose to live in the status quo because they had privileges. They did not understand that evolution is in every aspect of this universe: living organisms, cultures, religions, planet Earth, law, food, etc. It is not difficult to estimate that, unless humans do get extinct, we will be living on other planets, or places in the universe, perhaps, in other forms than now, and practicing different cultures and social orders. We are already invading and blending into outside of our planet. The seeds are already planted. Things are dynamic. Humanity is evolving at every level, physically, mentally, in knowledge. The moment that we are living, is our reality. But now we have arrived at a period in time and a place where the stories of racism, wars, and religions proved unnecessary and dangerous for humanity's long-term evolution. We should abolish the weight of the luggage that we carry to ease our way towards an unknown future. The stories, ideologies, and belief rituals we have been told and believed may have been the necessary drive force to arrive where we are now. They shaped our history, and now it is time for a new story to shape our future. The commercial stories of ancient people had served their time and input. They are not a prime influencer for currently developing cultures. Our diversities, such as cultures, languages, and belief systems, are decreased. It is not a bad thing. New forming united global cultures have been evolving and selectively integrating with the diversities that offer positive traits. We have a global language which seems to be English. Sorry, France. I have no problem accepting English as a global language. You should not have too. It is just the events of the past that brought us here. Now we take advantage of the most practical ways to go forward.